And now this thing comes along, the internet, and it's fantastic because it means that people like you and me can express ourselves and tell our version of the truth, which is actually the real truth, as it happens. And of course, how does the liberal left, how do the crazies respond to all this? By trying to shut down this medium of free expression. They're going to try and do it. I don't think, and this is the one bit of hope I can offer to your listeners today, I don't think they can get away with it. If China can't do it, if China can't close down the internet, then I think nobody can. But I agree. We've got to resist attempts to do so. We've got.
Well, they partially blockaded it, and it's a process. But then they just make the alternative information that much more in demand. But regardless, they're openly announcing their intention to, which shows everyone who these people really are.
Yeah. Well, of course, already you've got some of the places on the internet which have been captured by the liberal left. I mean, are you familiar with the case about Wikipedia?
Oh, it's a complete fraud. Half of what they've got about me. Well, stay there. Tell us about it when we get back. Final segment with our guest. Certainly we'll have to have him back. Very impressive information. But, yeah, Wikipedia, it's a fraud. The controlled leftoids, using Bush's unpopularity and all the bad things he did, boomeranged into power and are intensifying everything Bush did and adding a lot of new tyrannies in. And whenever you listen to the controlled left, all they talk about is how smart they are and what geniuses they are and how stupid everybody else is. And it's all just a bunch of prattle. I mean, they're a religious cult. And a great example of this is Wikipedia. They've got my name spelled wrong. Almost all the info is wrong. And they won't let us change it. They use the worst photo of me they can. They're caught constantly in disinfo. You were getting into that, James Delingpole.
Yes, and disappointing. One of my favorite Wikipedia entries ever was the one that said I was voted the sexiest man alive by this girls' school in Wiltshire, in England, and somebody went and cancelled it out. But on a more sinister point, this guy William Connolly. Have you heard of this guy?
Yes.
William Connolly was the guy was a sort of an officially appointed Wikipedia moderator, and this guy doctored or rewrote 5,428 articles about global warming. So any article that didn't suit his version of events, i.e. the warmist version of events, he simply either destroyed or altered to his point of view. This guy actually eliminated the medieval warm period, for example, on Wikipedia, which is the site, of course, everyone goes to these days for their information. So even the internet isn't safe, and it's the same with Google. I mean, you're presumably familiar with how Google has been squashing references to ClimateGate.
Yes.
When I first wrote about that story, I think within the first fortnight, ClimateGate had got something like 30 million Google hits. If you look now, it's gone down to something like 16 million. How can it have fewer hits than it had 2 weeks ago? It's crazy.
Well, we know Schmidt, the CEO of Google, openly says he wants a world government and world taxes.
Is that right? He's not the same as Gavin Schmidt, is he? For the climate guy.
No, the head of Google is a huge supporter of Al Gore.
Oh no! Do you think we should all kill ourselves now before it gets any worse?
Well, then there's the hypocrisy of these guys. All the big climate change heads like Bloomberg and Gore and Soros and, of course, Ted Turner, they have some of the biggest carbon footprints in the world. Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, look at. I mean, the guy in charge of the IPCC, Dr. Rajendra Pachauri, I don't know how long he's going to last with all the stuff that's been coming up about him. Have you been reading about that? It's just extraordinary. Yeah, tell folks about how he gets steel mills shut down in England and move them to India.
Oh, it's extraordinary. The Rajendra Pachauri, the guy who's in charge of the IPCC, the supposedly neutral panel, which is in charge of giving us the accurate figures on how much the climate is changing and how much we need to spend to stop this disaster happening. This guy is in it up to the armpits in businesses which stand to make money out of carbon trading. So this guy is saying, oh, we need stiffer regulation on carbon. And on the other hand, he's making millions out of carbon trading. One of the things he managed to do was to, he's allied with this Indian conglomerate called Tata. And Tata owns this steel company in Britain, and it recently closed down this steel company. Why? Because by shifting around its carbon credits, it could make over, I think, £1 billion just for having closed down this business and then set up one in India instead, producing the same amount of carbon, but just under the special terms of global carbon trading rules. India is somehow exempt, so it's all okay. I mean, it is just the massive scam.
James Delingpole, I know you've got a lot of stuff to do, but we've got a 1-minute break. I'm going to ask you during the break if you can come back for 5 minutes and finish up on a few other issues dealing with this global takeover through the fake environmental movement.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
We have now reached the second half of our radio broadcast. We're simulcasting the next 2 hours at prisonplanet.tv. You can watch us in living color and see all the documents and video clips. Coming up, CNN as the former head science advisor to Microsoft saying they need to terraform the planet to save us from global warming. Turns out Bill Gates has got the big patents on that. And we'll open the phones up as well. James Delingpole is a best-selling author. He writes for the Daily Telegraph and the TV critic for The Spectator. JamesDelingpole.com is his website. And he's one of the leading people out there exposing the fraud of man-made global warming. Absolutely spot on. As they say over in England. And I say cheers to him with Christmas coming up. In the last 4 minutes we've got left in this segment, chronicling ClimateGate, that was only one blip that got a bunch of attention. We've had Ben Santer with the fraud at the UN. We've had Al Gore lying about carbon dioxide going up simultaneously with temperature. Chronicle some of the fraud of these people.
Yeah, well, this is one of the great defences offered by the warmists is that this is that ClimateGate was an unimportant affair involving a few insignificant scientists that just one obscure establishment in the boggy fenlands of eastern England, and it doesn't matter. The fact is that ClimateGate, what it did was confirm what a select band of brave scientists and bloggers and people have been saying all along, which is that the whole system is rotten to the core. Now, these scientists exposed in the ClimateGate emails just also happen to be the small cabal of scientists who write the IPCC's papers on global warming. These guys are the lead authors. One of the big names that keeps cropping up in those emails is Michael Mann. And Michael Mann is the American scientist who invented the infamous hockey stick curve. That was the one, the great big curve that Al Gore, in An Inconvenient Truth, he shows this graph of how global temperatures are rising, and he has to mount on this kind of crane lifting device because the curve is so steep upwards that only with this crane can he rise to point it out, and everyone in the audience laughs. The fact is that this graph, which was invented by Michael Mann to show how dramatically the world is heating up, has been proved wrong not once but twice by these two heroic scientists called McIntyre and McKittrick. And McIntyre and McKittrick have been on the case of the warmists for a very long time, and they've been using one of them's an economist, the other is a statistician, and what they've been doing is using their skills to analyze all the data that has been used by these warmist scientists, and they've proved beyond doubt that these guys are cooking the books. They are fiddling with the
data.
They
called it a fraud, and then the emails came out confirming exactly what they were saying, with the fraudsters talking about them and how they had to suppress this information.
That's exactly right. And it is fraud, because what these scientists have been doing is skimming off millions and millions of dollars worth of funding and denying that funding to any scientists who disagree with this meme about AGW. This is part of the problem. Those emails not only show them cooking the books, but they also show them bullying the opposition into silence, trying to ensure that any journals that want to give work to dissenting scientists, that they don't do so. And if they try to do so, they want to get them shut down. Now, this is completely wrong. This is not how science advances.
Well, unfortunately, James Delingpole, we are out of time. Thank you for spending so much time with us. Then there's the other frauds, like polar bears are all dying when their numbers are way up, saying they can't swim to school children. I mean, the frauds go on, and the key here is they know it's a fraud. It's part of their agenda. Have a great Christmas, and thank you for spending so much time with us.
Happy Christmas, Alex. Thanks a lot.
You bet. Take care. There he goes, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to come back and get into the rest of the story. Their power grab, where they openly say they want to terraform the planet. Then your phone calls and what's happening with the healthcare power grab. Stay with us.